Okay, so here's another update video. I was supposed to do this on Friday or Saturday, but I kind of just got so caught up doing stuff that I just totally forgot, honestly. But a day late, still here to do this. Like I said, I like doing these regular updates for posterity's sake, if nothing else. And I got up early today, but I it's already been about 2 hours, and my brain's already in the flow of what I want to do for work and what I want to do for programming. So I don't know if I'm going to go too extensive on stuff of what's going on with the channel right now. But what I did want to talk about is some of the books I've been reading. I think in my entry from 2 weeks ago, I showed off this. The Elements of Style, which is, not a fashion book if you can't tell. If it was, it would be bad, or either I'd be bad at following its advice. It's a writing style book, and this is one. I started at the beginning, and I was like, I'm going to try to read this, but it the more I was reading it, I was I have this bad habit with books where I want to start at the beginning, even at the preface or the preface, however you pronounce that, and I want to read it all the way through. It's one of those OCD things I have, but I'm trying to get rid of that along with a lot of other bad habits. And what I did with this is I just skimmed past some of the beginning, and I'm basically like looking at, is this book going to be useful at all to me? And it seemed pretty good, so I started at chapter one and I started reading it. But what this book is more of, it's like a list of rules. I think it's more of a helpful reference, just some grammatical things. I just jumped in right now, like avoid rephrasing, don't use bankrupt expressions. Um, let's look for something else here that's easy to keep related words together. Like it's all these rules basically. And so this is the kind of book I realized it isn't really valuable to just read it through, but it is good to have on hand. So I went ahead and right now this is a library copy. I went ahead and got this on Amazon. It was only $5. So that's the kind of thing that I just want to keep by, but I'm not gonna be reading thoroughly. And then there was this other book, this one here, Style Toward Clarity and Grace. Started at chapter one of this. I just wanted to get a feel for it. Is this going to be a book that I can lay down at the end of the day and read, or is this something that's more of a reference? And sort of what I found with this is, I guess, a bit of a different category where this isn't like a light reading book. This is a very in depth study of how to write well and make your second drafts really work and effectively communicate your ideas to an audience. In particular, it's sort of looking at this idea of, okay, you can know everything there is to know in the world about a particular subject, but if you can't communicate those ideas, then it's basically useless. And that clicked with me because that's how I feel. I feel like, well, one, I feel like a lot of people are in that place, but a lot of people I'll watch who do speeches or do YouTube videos. They know a lot about their topics, but no one cares to listen to them because they can't make it interesting and they can't communicate to the audience that knows a lot less than they do. And one of the things with our YouTube channel is that I've really researched these topics out well, but I got to remember that I have to, like, not everyone in the audience knows the things I know. In fact, like, a very small percentage of people probably know more than I know on these topics. So I've got to, like, how can I condense that in the best way possible to make it entertaining for people and make a good product out of all this information I know? And yeah, so I feel like this is going to be a great, like, a really good book. I think I only read like, yeah, I was only 7 pages in, but I just got the feeling that this is something I'm going to want to buy and spend time on. I don't want to return this in 2 weeks or something. Like, I don't want to be halfway through reading it. This is going to be a long, thorough read. So this was another one I bought. Unfortunately, I'm not made of money, so I had to get the paperback, and I got it used off Amazon. I think it came out to $10. A little bit more pricey, but I think it'll be worth it. And then this other one. This is a book by Frank Luntz. If you remember, I don't know, if you watch the news at all, he would show up, and he's like a pollster, more of a right-leaning guy. And either way, this is more of the book I'm looking for as far as something to buy from the library. I can read it on the quick and, just sort of relax, but hopefully get some good information. And yeah, I actually, when I got up this morning and I couldn't fall back to sleep, I started reading this instead of just looking at my phone. I started reading, which is, I want to make more of a habit of that. But I got to page 25, and it's got good stuff in there. I think it would be a really great read if you have a lot of time. For me, I'm skimming some of it just so I can get some of the gist. I'm skimming over some of the anecdotes, but one of the things that tells me this guy knows what he's talking about is because the book reads really well. I mean, it's just like I take in everything the guy's saying, even some of the stuff I'm skimming over. So I think that's just a good sign. This is the guy who, if he can teach how he writes, if he can teach that well, then this is going to be a good book. And then there was another book I picked up at the library. I think The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I just seen they had some table where they had a bunch of showing off a bunch of time travel books, and I was like, I'll pick this up and give it a read. But I haven't read any of that yet. I think that's all I want to talk about for now. I guess reading in that Frank Luntz book, one of the things he talked about was consistency and familiarity, and how that's important with an audience. And it's made me think about coming up with formulas for my YouTube videos, and really how one of the things I want to do is just get in the habit of keeping length consistency, structure consistency, and really coming up with formulas for all of these things. In particular, one of the new things we're going to be doing is trying to do series. I don't know, is that the plural of series? It's just series again, series is. We're going to be doing a series on the YouTube channel that's going to be basically a lot of videos that are on different topics, but structured the exact same way. And I think that's going to be some good practice into, basically, I'm going to try to really come up with a formula and get the same length on all of those videos and see how it does. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it. If the idea for the series is something people don't like, then that can affect it. If we don't come up with a good thumbnail template, that can affect it too. But if nothing else, I think it will be good practice. And anyways, I got to do something for one of my other YouTube channels, and then I'm going to get to work here.